Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this. There's a lot of rumors swirling about who might run the FBI next. One of the names that is being discussed is Mike Rogers, who was unsuccessful in his Senate bid in the state of Michigan. Last night, Andy McCabe, who we all know is the worst of the worst, endorsed Mike Rogers to become FBI director. Andy McCabe went on CNN and said it's a totally reasonable and logical selection to nominate to lead the agency, pointing to his knowledge of the intel community and his experience at the FBI. So Andy McCabe has endorsed Mike Rogers. How should we think about this, Matt Gaetz?
Well, I thought I had the worst day for prospects of serving in the Department of Justice. But if Andy McCabe endorsed Mike Rogers and that information gets to President Trump, and I suspect it will, I don't think it will do very well for Mike Rogers' case. I was for Mike for Senate. It's unfortunate that he ran a few points behind the president and didn't prevail there. But I think that Mike Rogers will be asked really tough questions from some of the civil libertarians in the Republican conference about just how robust the surveillance state should be. We've seen the surveillance state weaponized against Republicans and Democrats alike. We've seen the Constitution torn asunder in the desire to allow the FBI to be very snoopy. And Mike Rogers has been a champion for the most aggressive actions in that respect. And I think that President Trump wants to see more reform there probably than Mike Rogers does.
Let's play cut 82. I'm not exactly sure. Well, let me see which clip this is here before we go into it. Yeah, this is Mike Rogers, some of his thoughts on President Trump. Play cut 82.
I don't believe today, as I'm sitting here, that Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee in 2024. Don't believe it.
I don't think it's helpful for the President of the United States to attack the media. It's petty, and it's certainly below the stature of the office of the President of the United States. It's beneath the office in and of itself. Actions and activities unbecoming of the office of the President of the United States.
I don't want to spend too much time of your valuable time, Matt, on this, but it seems as if he's not exactly a fan of President Trump. And him becoming FBI director, I think his odds are decreasing in real time. And closing here, Matt, we have a mandate. We have a mandate to fix the DOJ and fix the FBI. You mentioned some of this previously, but what are some of the other things that you had to really think about this last week, Matt? You had to really go into planning mode because you were the Attorney General designate. What specific items did you come up with in the last week as you went through these briefings and these transition meetings that you want to share with our audience of action items for Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and the incoming Department of Justice team?
There's going to be a lot of self-deporting at the Department of Justice. That was happening when I was the Attorney General designate. I'm sure it will continue with Pam Bondi because people know that reform is coming. We're not going to be doing things the same way we used to do them. And so you're going to have a lot of positions to fill. And one of the most important things for us to do is get really bright lawyers, not from just inside the Beltway of Washington, but from the great DA offices around the country, from the state attorneys general, who have people who feel that call to come and help us reclaim the Department of Justice as a valued institution constrained by the Constitution, not as the enforcement wing of the political left in the country. And we've seen that under both President Trump and President Biden. It must change. The other thing is a bit granular, but I think people will understand it. When you have the recalcitrants who dig in and want to do things like change FISA applications illegally and fraudulently to ensnare President Trump or other Republicans, you have to put those people on the line. You have to take those people out of their big cushy offices in the Kennedy building or in the Hoover building, and you've got to send them out into the field, prosecuting crimes in Indian country or working and litigating sections of the department. And if you do that, I think some of the folks who prefer to play politics than follow the facts and the law will indeed leave the Department of Justice, creating more opportunity for those patriotic Americans that we've discussed. Also, there has to be a real effort from the Office of Personnel Management from the very, very beginning to figure out who was breaking the law with FISA and then fire those people. When Inspector General Horowitz, who was appointed by Obama, reviewed their conduct, they were breaking the law 38 times an hour. They were spying on their ex-lovers, their neighbors, their spouses, co-workers, and the people that did that, if they are fired for cause, then it will have a very cleansing and therapeutic effect throughout the department.
Very quickly, 25 seconds, Matt. What is your advice to Tulsi, Bobby, that you learned this last week that they should know to get across the finish line?
Spend as much time with senators as possible. My best moments were with some of my harshest critics, because when you lay out your plans and your agenda, how that's all going to fit together in great ways with the administration, senators will move. So don't give up on them. Work them hard and really have detailed plans. I didn't have senators asking me about anything other than the vision of the department, and everyone should follow that advice.